I am Vinnie Tortorich, folks. Your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent when you start this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed, just like the woman on the other mic, Miss Anna Vocino. Lunatic Fringe. Anna, do you know where that song comes from?
I could not hear the song.
The song is Lunatic Fringe by the group Red Rider.
Nice.
And
I do not know where that song comes from, but I bet you're going to tell me.
I want you to look it up. I want you to look up which movie did Lunatic Fringe come from. You know this movie. You have to know this movie. You know the actor. Everyone loves this actor. There's no way you cannot know what this is. Because we're going to be talking about aerobics today, and this guy did a lot of exercise.
I have a confession.
Go on.
I never saw Vision Quest.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was because I was right in that age where some movies I didn't see because I wasn't allowed to see them because it was R-rated.
I may watch Vision Quest again tonight.
And I've never seen it.
Oh, Anna.
Matthew Modine was so cute back in the day.
I am so jealous of you that you've not seen it. And you
it has Ronnie Cox in it too.
I mean, what?
The actor, Ronnie Cox.
You will love this movie. It's all about this kid. You know, he's on a vision quest. He wants to be this, you know, he wants to wrestle in this other category and all this kind of stuff. And he's got to drop weight and be strong and do the whole thing. And, you know, he's doing all this exercise.
I love it.
And today we're talking about exercise. So
again, part two.
Yeah.
Deuce.
Yeah, we talked about anaerobic exercise the other day without oxygen. That's what that means, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
The Greeks come up with all the words.
Vinny, I know what we're going to talk about next week.
What?
I'm writing it down.
What?
Because we did anaerobic / weightlifting. This week we're doing cardio /
just
aerobic.
Yeah.
Next week we do things like stretching, yoga classes, things like that.
Boom. Remind me. Write it down.
We're chock full of content, people.
We're the most content laden. By the way, we got a compliment last night. We did the VIP group. Yeah.
We're so used to just getting beaten down.
I know. I didn't know what to do with it.
You're like, oh, are you going to say just kidding afterwards?
No. We got a real compliment.
That's so nice. What was it? Tell everybody the nice thing someone said.
Okay. So here's the deal. We do this VIP group, and it's an exclusive group. You have to pay to be in it. And it's an accountability group. We do it twice a month, except for February. We're not doing it twice in February, Anna. We're doing it 3 times.
3 times, baby.
We do the accountability around the 12th, like the day after the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we're going to have the other one on the last day of the month. But in between those 2 times, we're going to have a special Anna Vocino cooking section.
That's right.
People can ask you questions while you're teaching them. And by the way, where can they go to? Because
I don't know. VinnieTortorich.com/VIP.
No. They can't sign up for that right now because it's.
Oh, they can't?
No, it's closed. I'm not here selling. I'm not. If you're not.
Y'all should have had signed up for it.
I told everyone. So everyone, it's a large group. And I said, I'm closing it.
It's a great group. I jumped in last night.
I may open it up again in March, April. You never know.
Okay.
I'm going to open it up every now and again.
Okay.
But here's the deal.
Well, you guys have an online community, right? And I can post in there.
Oh, and by the way,
I'll post in there.
In the online community, Anna.
Yeah.
We are now, you can get the transcripts of everything. You could get, you can go back and listen to it, record it. You can see the whole video and everything of everyone popping up and the whole thing. And you can see all the questions everyone were, the whole thing. I'm giving as many tools as I can to help people succeed. My new thing this year is to do everything in my power to help people succeed at the low price of whatever. but you're coming in and you're doing a special cookie.
Yes.
And they can ask you, you said you were going to put 3 things out there. And
why don't I do that? I may think of 3 recipes that I think would be good for peeps.
And then the group can pick the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. So that's the way we're going to do that. So next week we're going to talk about we're going to talk about stretching and calisthenics and, like
all the other ancillary things. Let's talk about fitness crazes, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yoga, Pilates. I was going to
Serena
say
goes to
water
solid
aerobics,
core.
but
People
yeah,
want to know
things
about,
like that.
people want to know about the, should I get a Peloton bike and all that? We'll go
Yes.
into all of that kind of stuff and explain the good, the bad, and the ugly about all of it.
Perfect.
It's not all bad, folks. There's a lot of good, but I'm not a guy that's selling any of these products, so I can talk freely about what's good and what's not good. That's what the podcast has always been about. So that's what we're going to
Aerobics.
do there. But aerobics, something Matthew Modine did a lot of in and not Lunatic Fringe, but
Vision Quest.
Anna, please promise me that
I'm putting it on my list. I'm putting it on my list. I have organized my Apple Notes because here's the thing. Here's the thing. There's so much information.
Yeah.
That I hate it when you're like, sit down to Netflix or something, and then you're like, someone told me to watch a thing and I can't remember what it is. Yeah. So I have now organized my Apple Notes, my reminders, my email, and my calendar to all sync up. And I have a note in my Apple Notes of what to watch. And you know what I do? Boom, go right to that. And I will see Vision Quest, and then I'll be able to see it, go, oh yeah. Because you know how it is. 2 hours after the show, I won't even remember this conversation.
Right,
when
right.
I see that list, I'll go, oh yeah, Vinny said I got to watch Vision Quest.
Whenever I start watching the Hallmark Christmas movies right after, what is it? The pumpkin holiday? What's that? Halloween?
Halloween, yeah.
I have a list sitting right next to my chair. And after I watch the movie, I write the movie down because I've been guilty of halfway through the movie again going, wait a minute, I just saw this last week. They're all so similar that I have to make sure I'm not watching the same one over and over. At any rate, aerobics. First, I'll start with me. As you know, every year I put 365 hours on the calendar. And by the end of the year, I have to do 365 hours of aerobics. Now, that being said, there's some months where it's more aerobic heavy than others. Let's say I'm going to go climb a mountain or something. Those months, I will do more aerobics, right? Maybe 60 hours or 70 hours. So it's like, well, geez, you could take January off if you know you're going to do that in May or June, right? And of course, we know in May this year, I'm going to be gone for about 12 or 13 days. So probably won't get a lot of aerobics in then. So I put in what I call baffles, which, you know what a baffle is. It equalizes things, right?
Yeah.
You know,
like in a crib, the things around the bumpers used to be called baffles, but now I think they're called bumpers, but they're baffles.
Well, sometimes
pillows are baffles.
When you think of things that you fill with air, like air mattresses and stuff, pump it up. But if you have baffles, you can keep it smooth, right?
Baffle is a very fun word to say, and we need to bring it back.
So I'm bringing it back. So every month, part of my 365 is I have to do at least 1 hour of aerobics per day during the month. So this past month, 31 days in a month. So by the end of yesterday, we're recording this on February 1st, I had to get to at least 31 hours. As you know, I had the COVID at the beginning of the month.
That's right.
Came back from England very sick and couldn't do a lot of aerobics at first. So I had to up my game towards the end of the month. I ended up at 32 hours and something, almost 33 hours. I'm looking at it right now. 32 hours.
Pretty good considering.
Yeah, I
had COVID.
battled back, but you see, that's the good thing about having.
Did you take any days off for COVID, like while you were recuperating, or did you
power
through?
Yeah. And there were some days when I got on the spinner and I would go for like 30. I was planning on going for an hour. I got to like 25 or 30 minutes and went, okay, this is enough because I'm still, achy and sick or whatever.
Sure.
So, and there were other days when I couldn't get out of bed. So, you end up doing what you do. But when you have those goals in front of you, if you're serious about your goals, and that's what I want to talk about first when it comes to aerobics is the goals. I had to get to that number. I could have easily said, all right, I got to 28 hours this month. I can kick this over to next month. Right. And just bear down in February, right? But I'm not doing that. I had to hit my goal before I went to bed last night, and I did it with an hour or so, and I didn't even have to work out yesterday. I could have taken, I was already at 31. I ended up at 32:30 or 32:45. So
Now, but the month is going to reset according to your new goal, because if it were me and I set 365, I would be like, oh, I can lighten up in February, like a half hour on 2 different days because I'm an hour ahead or whatever. But you're saying, no, we reset the counter, and February 1st starts, I got to do an hour each day in February.
Or at least an hour.
So at least 29 hours by the end of February.
And by the way, that's the other thing, Anna, that's a good question to bring up. I don't actually do aerobics every day. People go, you do aerobics every day? I was like, no, I don't. But when I do aerobics, it's generally an hour and a half.
Oh.
So those half hours, really add up.
How many days do you so that would imply you do every other day, but I feel like you do more than every other day.
Sometimes I'll take 2 days off if I got, schedule, this and, the whole thing. But if I'm averaging every time I do aerobics, if I'm averaging 90 minutes, I usually get there very easily. And on the weekend, Serena will go, hey, let's go out and climb this mountain or whatever.
Right. You do a longer thing.
So that might be a 3-hour or a 4-hour thing. So it all comes around. So I don't do it every day, but it averages out to at least an hour a day. So that's how that works.
I have a question.
Go on.
When you and Serena go for the longer 3 to 4 hour hike up the mountain, do you bring your nut butters in your pack or like jerky or something with you, or do you just bring waters?
If I'm going 90 minutes or 2 hours, I might, unless it's really hot, I won't even bring water. I'll have water in the car, and I'll take like an ultra salt and guzzle some water before I leave.
Right.
And knowing I'll be back at the car in 90 minutes. But if I know it's hot and it's 2 hours or plus, then I carry water with me, and I usually put ultra salt in there, and then I'll take at least 1 packet, if not 2 packets with me.
Of the nut butter.
Take 2 packets. Well, Serena forgets to, and she'll go, "Oh, we have another one." And
it's nice to share. I do that too.
I don't share. You get your own one. I don't want you gumming up my ultra fat with your bond.
No, but I'm glad that you're clarifying, because I think too, if you're new to this and you're still doing the whole like, I can't even go on a 45-minute walk around the thing without carrying a bottle of water with me. It might feel weird that you don't need to bring your water, but you don't. You'll be okay. Although that being said, we're sitting here podcasting and I forgot to bring my water and I'm so thirsty.
I'm sitting here with a quadruple espresso. Right here.
Yum.
Quadruple.
Yummy.
See, my lips are turning like.
You're going to have.
Yeah, I got black lips from. Speaking of Serena, that's her calling right now. At any rate, yeah. If we're going to go 4 hours, then we have.
Okay. Just wanted to know how you felt about that.
And go 4 hours. Are you guys nuts? Well, when I go with Serena, I got to hoof it because she's got those big long legs. Yeah. I'm almost in a jog sometimes.
Is she still training for endurance runs?
No, she doesn't. She's not doing any ultras right now, but she'll go out on she was out last weekend that she was here, and she said she was gone, and I came back from, I worked out, and then I went to the shooting club, and I came back, and she still wasn't home. And she must have come home and gone grocery shopping, but I didn't see Bonzo in the house. So she said, so when I got back home, it's like, wow, how long? She goes, oh, we went 15 miles today. So she can go out on any given Saturday and knock out 15 miles.
That was my other question for you. Do you guys bring the dog every time?
No, not if it's super hot, no. There's only so far you can go. In the winter we do, because it's a Vizsla. They can go forever. It's just not fair on a dog when it's really, really hot.
Right.
Or what we'll do is like when I was training for Whitney last summer, I would do 1 lap with the dog. Serena would be there waiting, take the dog and go, that kind of thing. So at least the dog had exercise, and then he would go for a coffee with Serena, and vice versa. We do that for each other so that the dog can get some exercise. But yeah, there are different ways to figure out how to make this fun. And that's part of what I want to talk about here.
Well, and also I want to know is are you saying that everybody else needs to do an hour a day? Like, what are the requirements?
No. All right. So let's get into that a little bit. Yeah. I want to get back to the type of exercise, because people always go, what counts?
Right.
I'm obsessive, and that's a lot for someone that's not training for anything. If you were training to be in an ultra or you were training for a marathon or something, you would do a lot of hours, right?
Right.
But then after the event, you might crack back a bit. Since I'm not training for any events, I put this in front of myself every year. I make this a thing that I do. So that's, you don't have to do an hour a day. I tell people it's great if you do an hour a day, and they'll go, an hour a day of aerobics? It's like, well, when I think about it, my grandfather worked manual labor his entire life. He was doing aerobics for 8 or 10 hours every day, and he never complained about it. When you look at back 2,000 years ago, the Romans would move armies 25 and 30 miles a day by foot. So you had all these
wow
tiny people carrying almost their weight in gear every day. And then at the end of like 2 weeks of doing it, they might have a battle, do a little raping and pillaging, and then back to walking again. They would move these armies. That's how they conquered the world back then. So we're set up to do it. So getting to an hour a day, people would, an hour a day. Well, fuck, think about this. The average American right now is looking at an iPhone for average 7.5, 8 hours a day. I'm asking you to do something for your health for 1 hour.
Also, insider tip, you can still do your aerobics and look at your iPhone if you're on the Concept 2 or bike.
Which is how Anna does it. So,
well, I listen to books on tape or podcasts. I don't read the phone while I'm doing it. But so yes, I do use the phone.
Let's talk about the boredom aspect of it, because that's people go, oh, what do you do? All right, as you know, in my gym here, I have a bike and a spinner. They both do the same thing. I use one for one thing, one for the other. And I have a Concept 2 rowing machine in here. I don't have enough room. A treadmill would be too much of a big footprint. I could put it over here, but it wouldn't be near a television. And being on a treadmill looking at a wall is no fun.
No, you definitely need to watch TV or something.
Right. And it's, we have good weather here most of the year.
Right.
If it's 20 degrees and spitting snow, of course, I'm going to go to the gym and get on a treadmill if I'm dying to get on a treadmill.
By the way, that's precisely why I'm not going to get a treadmill, because I live in a place where it's beautiful 358 days a year. 7 days we have rain.
Yeah, no, it would be crazy. And when we lived there, we wouldn't consider going to a gym and getting on a treadmill because we had the Amundsen Ranch in our backyard.
Right.
And we would just go running and jogging. Serena went there yesterday. She's been out there doing this series.
That's great.
Series. And she's been going back to the old hunting grounds and doing that. So yeah, so indoor aerobics can be tedious. I don't mind doing it. I'd rather sit on a bike or a rower than sit in a chair to watch television. Right. Football season is great for that, because you watch one game, I'd get off maybe in the fourth quarter because, you get past 2 hours of doing that. That's all I need. But I've done whole games.
Yeah.
Well, I've just sat there for 3 hours and done some aerobics. Now, I'm not.
That's pretty good.
Anyone else has to do that. I'm a freak. I like, I'm an idiot. I'll do that.
Didn't you also too, for anyone who's new, you didn't have a sofa when you were a bachelor? You had the bike in front of the TV.
When I was into ultra cycling in a big way, I didn't own a couch or a chair. I owned a television and my spinner, which was in front of so whenever women would come over, like if I had, like, you get to a third or fourth date and they want to come see where you live to make sure you're not a serial killer.
Right.
The only thing that
total serial killer
me,
believer.
yeah, the only thing that normalized me was Sophie and Stella, my two Vishalas.
Yeah.
Because they would look around and go, where do you sit? It's like, well, there's a couple of chairs over there in the kitchen.
Oh my God.
Sit in the kitchen. She goes, but where do you sit when you watch television? It's like on that bike, on that spinner. And no, everyone thought, oh my God, this guy's out of his mind. But that's the way I lived. I didn't, I lived very lean, very sport lifestyle. So, and that's why I always tell people I'm a bit freakish when it comes to this, but that's how that works. Now, I do like to get out and do outside aerobics, mountain climbing, hiking, that kind of thing. Yes, I do go out for the occasional jog. I'll do that. I'll go out, and it'll be a walk run, right? I might walk the first mile, might run the next two, walk the fourth mile, maybe run another mile. That used to be called fartlek running. There's a guy named Fartlek. That was his real name. Not making that up. And his thing was, you go out, you jog, and then you break into a stride. Maybe you sprint for a little bit, and you go back to walking, and you just keep doing that. And there's a certain value to that. We studied it in college. It's very, very.
Is that the same idea as doing sprints and then walking and then doing sprints?
Is
like a HIIT workout?
It's kind of like HIIT, but fartlek was more, you didn't do it on a track. You did it like, I'm going to run until I get to that telephone post. I'm going to sprint. Yeah. And now I'm going to break and go back down into a jog. And when I get to that stop sign, I'm going to go, but and that was the idea behind fartlek running. And,
do you espouse that? Because it seems like that would not be zone 2.
No, it takes you way out of zone 2. And we're going to be talking about that in just a few minutes. So the other things I like to do, I learned how to row last summer. So that's another aerobic thing I can, where I'm not in the house. I learned how to actually row on water. So I'm looking forward to the spring to get back into a rowboat. The other thing I'm looking at the spring for is kayaking, which is rowing, except you get to go forward and see where you're heading. And you'll go, well, isn't that kind of like rowing? No, you're working different muscles. You want to talk about an ab and oblique workout, get into paddling correctly.
Yeah.
Go online and look at Olympic guys and how they, that technique. I was taught that by Dave the kayaker and some of those guys, how to, these guys that are really fast in a kayak. They showed me these techniques, and kayaking is a real upper body aerobic workout. Rowing is more or less a lower body aerobic workout, similar to bike. Swimming. People ask me about swimming all the time. I keep saying every year, somehow I'm going to get back into swimming. And for whatever reason, I never get there because I just run out of time.
Yeah.
But I really do want to figure out a way to get back into the pool once a week. And I got to kind of make some kind of decree. We have
do you use your own pool, or you got to go to the Olympic size pool at the gym? You're doing like 2 strokes turn.
Yeah, I got a pool where I've been in it twice since I bought this house. I would not have bought a house with a pool. I've been in it exactly twice. Even when Nina came over, Nina got in the pool, she and Serena, and I was like, I should get in. We have guests in the pool, and I actually sat on the side and dipped my feet in there.
Yeah.
I don't like bobbing in a pool. If I'm gonna get in the pool, I want to swim laps. Now, we have this incredible family.
It is kind of boring just bobbing in the pool.
It is. I don't really get it, and I feel like
I do cold plunges in the pool.
Well, I would do that, but I'm not into cold plunges.
Yeah.
I feel like if I'm in the pool, I should be working. It feels weird to me. My personality. I don't like taking time off. I just like to work. And I feel like if I got time to go bob in the pool,
right? You got time to get
not being done.
Well, there's never an end to the to-do list. So when you have your own business, so listen, I always thought, but way before I was ever a business owner, I was a teenager, and all my girlfriends would want to lay out and get sun, and I hated it. I'd rather just do something, and I hated it. And now I'm glad because of the skin thing, but
by the way,
I couldn't, I was like, you guys just want to lay there for like hours? Where they're like, well, we're reading a book or a magazine. I'm like, yeah, but I'll do that when you're going to sleep or when you're traveling. Don't you can do things right now. Let's go do something.
By the way, I do the laying out part. Like if I got social media to do, or if I have to have a meeting with Chris, I'll go, if it's a sunny day and it's like 65 or 70, I'll go by the pool. I don't put on a swimsuit. I'll just go by the pool, take my shirt off.
Yeah.
Talking to Chris or having a meeting or something where I know I'm going to be about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because that vitamin D through the skin is really good. I'll lay there. And then if I have an extra 10 or 15 minutes, I'll flip over and lay. And as soon as I flip
suntan Vinnie.
listen,
don't you get enough sun from exercising outside? That's what I feel like.
do,
I
but
get enough.
If I'm going to either be in my office on a phone call or whatever, or I can go outside and get some sun, I'll go outside for 30 minutes and just, and by the way, I usually, it's the white trash version. I got a pair of jeans on and I'll just my shirt off. And several times I've taken my, Serena's come out there, I'm in my underwear and she's like, what are you doing?
That's what Lauren does all the time.
I said,
he's out there.
I said, these underwear, they look just like swim trunks. You got, the underwear that looks like, they're made by a company called Saks, and the other ones are made by Under Armour. They look like any other fucking swimsuit.
They do.
So who's going to see anything? So I'll do that and then just throw my jeans back on and go. I don't like go out there with suntan lotion or whatever that crap is.
No, I'm talking about the girls in the 80s and 90s would go lay out and bake themselves.
Oh, who's got
for
that?
hours on end. And I was always, and even as a teenager, I'm not like trying to do work as a teenager, but I was like, we could do something.
Yeah.
Let's go on a walk, or let's go I would rather go to the mall and walk, like just do something where I'm in motion. Let's just get in motion. I like motion. Yeah. As evidenced by, if you watch this YouTube video, am I ever sitting still? I'm constantly.
No, you're always,
I'm a fidgeter.
You make me nervous. So the swimming thing, I want to get back into to some degree. We have a family YMCA that's pretty inexpensive. They have great pools and everything. Is
that where you're a member at the Y, or
No. But I had a membership there during COVID because the university shut the gym down. I remember when I was there, I went, oh, they got great pool facilities.
Right.
And it wasn't very expensive. So for like a couple of bucks a month, I'll just go get the pool membership and try it on for a bit, right? Just for something different.
Yeah.
So listen to all the things: hiking, kayaking, rowing, running,
cycling,
indoor rowing. There's so many things you can do to where you don't get bored. Right. So I'm always doing it now. I think this question came up in the VIP group last night, or maybe it was one of my phone callers, but this came up yesterday. Someone said to me, what's that thing you talk about where you say cycling is not as good as running or hiking? What's
the weight-bearing exercise thing.
Weight-bearing exercise. Now, aerobically, cycling or rowing or swimming, excellent. Rowing and swimming works most of the muscles in your body, those two exercises. Mm-hmm. Right? I can say the same thing for kayaking. You're working a shit ton of muscles, right? Cycling is mostly lower body. These are all great aerobic exercises. The one thing you're lacking is weight bearing. So I tell people that if you're an avid cyclist and you like to go, do the 100-mile fun ride, or you like to go, you're a weekend warrior and you like to go do races or whatever. If you're just cycling, you have to get on your feet. You have to do some weight bearing exercises. You have to shake it up a bit, because that's what keeps your bones and your skeletal structure strong. Whenever you're just perched on a bike or on a rowing machine or swimming, you're suspended in water, your body will start using up all of its calcium. It'll pull it from your bones. You need to build your bones up. So weight-bearing exercise has to be put in there at some point. Very important. Now we're going to get into zone 2, but before we do that, I'll tell you about the best zone ever, and that's in Puglia, Italy. Boy, what a great zone that is, because they make great olives there. And wherever you can make a great olive, wherever you can grow a great olive, you can then have great olive oil. And that's why you want to go to Puglia.
They should call it the gold zone. We have the blue zones. We should call it the gold zone.
Yeah.
You want the gold zone. That's what you want. Villa Capelli olive oil is the best olive oil on the planet, as we've said a bajillion times in this podcast, because we're high on our own supply, and we want you to be too. It is so good, so flavorful, and especially if you've been having grocery store olive oil up to this point, and then you splurge on some Villa Capelli, you will be shocked. However, the nicer real olive oils the word's starting to get around. And I guarantee you that when the fancy one gets to your grocery store, you're going to see how reasonably priced Villa Capelli is for real extra virgin olive oil. And that's all that's contained within. It is not cut or stepped on with any seed oil. It is just pure extra virgin olive oil, which means it's the first press from the harvest. Now they harvest early in Puglia. And what happens when they do that, you get more polyphenols. And the polyphenols, when you drink the olive oil, gives you a little bit of a peppery pinch at the back of your throat.
Yeah, you get a
That's
little
called the Puglia pinch.
at the back. Yeah, you
That's
want to
right.
almost choke a
That
little.
means it's got the good stuff in it. Excuse me. We want that good stuff. So go to villicapelli.com, do all your shopping, use the discount code Vinnie. You'll get 10% off your order each and every time. That's Vinnie, Vinnie, not Vinnie with a wimpy Y. It won't work. Make sure you get your cart size around $145, $150, because then after you use the discount code Vinnie and get your 10% off, you'll still qualify for free shipping. And it's all about free shipping.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We all want free shipping because oil is expensive to ship.
Okay. Getting back to aerobics.
Yeah, you're making me feel good because I do an hour of walking these hills every day.
Good.
Whether it's just a half hour in the morning and a half hour in the evening. Oh, that's a question. Or I do a big long one and it's an hour to an hour and 15 every single day without fail, unless it's raining. So and even then, I went out today. It was sprinkling. It's not a big deal.
Serena told me there was a Pineapple Express that popped through there. You guys got a lot of rain?
Oh yeah, we got that. I was driving back over the pass from the doctor's appointment today, and the mudslides were starting. I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, that question gets asked all the time. Oh, what if I could do a half an hour in the morning, half an hour? Great. Great. You know, some people like to do it all at once, especially if you're trying to build up volume to do a sporting event. You might want to do it all at once, but it's great to do some exercise in the morning and exercise at night or midday or whatever. So breaking it an hour up into two, that's not a bad idea, right?
Well, what I like to do is try to get as much time in the morning one as possible so that then when I go out for the afternoon one or evening one, it's just gravy, you know?
Yeah.
But I do like walking after dinner, especially because, or else you just go and sit on the couch and watch TV and it just feels sluggy. I don't like it.
Yeah, you know, there's something to that. You know, my great grandparents did, you know, after you ate dinner, they went and walked.
Yeah.
Right.
But we also eat early. We don't, I know y'all, because you're on the East Coast now, you probably push it because we're podcasting late into the evening, and you probably push your dinner till later. But we eat early enough where it's like, I don't want to be done with the day and just veg out yet.
Right. Well, with me, I generally, I work until late in the evening. Right. So my work day is shifted. I like to work later in the day. So if I eat at 8 o'clock now, I wanted to do this podcast earlier today because Serena's out of town. I have to go to the store, buy food and cook for myself and all that stuff.
Right.
And I probably, by the time we're done here and I'll upload and do all that, I probably won't get to the store until 7. By the time I have something cooked, it'll be 8.
Yeah.
If I'm being realistic. But I'm not, I'm going to come back and work after that. So I won't go to bed until probably midnight.
Yeah.
12:30. So it all kind of works out for me.
So zone 2.
Zone 2. What is it? Why does it matter? Okay. If you're new to this, pay attention. So we basically have 4 aerobic zones, 1 through 4. And I'm going to give examples of all 3. So zone 1 is you're just on your feet moving around. You might be gardening, this kind of thing. Just a slow
scooting
walk
around the house.
Yeah, scooting
folding
around
laundry, vacuuming, putting things away.
Walking your dog, this kind of thing. Right. It's all zone 1. You never get past 60% of your aerobic capacity. Right. Zone 2 starts at right after that. So zone 2 is 60 to oh wait. I'm sorry. 7, 9, 8. Okay. Zone 2
we got it. We got it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Zone 2 starts at 70% of your aerobic capacity. So between 70 and 79% of your aerobic capacity is zone 2. Your body is not burning glycogen, it's still working at a pace where you can just, burn fat. Your body will use fat, turn into a butyrate, ketones, burn the ketones. You're keeping your blood sugar where it needs to be, and you're burning fat. Okay.
Okay.
You're also causing your heart to work and become more efficiently, and you start building up mitochondria. Just everything starts working in your favor when you're in zone 2, right? You're like a diesel engine. You're building a big mid-range, right?
You make it sound so good.
Oh, it sounds like I get paid by big zone 2.
I think you're in bed with big zone 2.
I could be. Zone 3.
You're making so much money.
Yeah, I'm killing it.
Paid by the fat cats over at, actually lean cats over at Big Zone 2.
Oh yeah, yeah. The checks they stroke are astronomical. So
but you make it sound like I'm like, oh, I gotta do that.
All of my training is done basically in zone 2. Not all of it. I'm going to get into that in just a bit.
Okay.
So zone 3 is 80 to 89% of your aerobic capacity. And up until recently, it was thought that you would burn through most of your blood glycogen, even though you're using probably 60 to 70% fat in zone 3. You're moving just fast enough, or you're going just hard enough to where your body starts using some sugar along with the fat. Now, if you listen to the show, probably 8 months ago, we had Professor Tim Noakes, who's also a medical doctor, who's done more of these studies than anyone else on the planet. He was able to get well-trained athletes who were fat adapted, who were in ketosis, who did not have any extra sugar in their body. He got them to, I want to say, 87% of their aerobic capacity, which means deep into zone 3. And they were able to sustain that for at least an hour, which it was always thought that you couldn't do that in zone 3. So you can still utilize mostly fat if you're fat adapted in zone 3 and get away with it for a good long time. Zone 4 is between 90 and 100% of your aerobic capacity. And when you're in zone 4,
that sounds intense.
You can, in zone 2, you can still carry a conversation. You're jogging, you're riding a bike casually. In zone 3, you can still talk, but every fourth or fifth word, you might have to suck in a deep breath. In zone 4, the yapping stops because you're almost at 100% of your aerobic capacity. You can't talk. You're just breathing hard.
So would zone 4 be like if you're doing a HIIT workout?
HIIT is in zone 4, yes.
Okay. Can I go ahead and ask about that? Or do you want me to wait till you finish explaining zone 2?
Well, let me just finish zone 4 here.
Okay.
So when you're in zone 4, your body cuts off the use of any fat at all and is basically just using sugar. So people will go, well, geez, if I want to get rid of sugar in my body, why not just go to zone 4? Because then you would have to load some sugar back in because you're burning your blood glycogen and your body needs to maintain a little something called homeostasis. So that's why people, when they do those kind of workouts, football players, boxers, anyone that's in zone 4 for any period of time, when they're done, they feel depleted. You might feel, like you're going through a bonk and this other thing, and you need to eat some sugar to level your blood sugar again. Go on and ask the question, Anna.
So it's really interesting because dickheads could extrapolate what you said and be like, see, Vinny, the body does need sugar.
Well, yeah, if you're in zone 4 and you deplete your sugar, you need to put your sugar back on.
But that's what I'm saying. But how much sugar do you need to put back in there?
Okay.
What I'm leading you to.
All right. So, I'm 6 feet tall, or used to be, and I weigh about 170 pounds. To get my blood sugar back on track, I might need somewhere in the neighborhood of a teaspoon. Just table sugar, 1 teaspoon. If I did completely depleted my sugar and I was bonked out, 1 teaspoon is what my body needs. That's basically what I've lost.
Okay.
You don't need as much. So you can almost get that just from eating, vegetables.
Right.
You work out. Now,
Right.
when you're depleted and you're hurting, vegetables won't get it there as fast as, I can't tell a lie, as if you took some kind of dextrose or something else, or
Or is
just,
that why they sell those goos at the
yeah,
checkout
exactly. That's why you
of
think,
REI and
oh, you
whatnot?
understand my blood sugar's low. Yeah, you're fucking around with sugar. Yeah, keep
Right.
fucking around with that. You're going to keep getting low blood sugar. Congratulations. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So I wanted you to clarify that because, you know, don't go do zone 4 so you can have your high carb treat is what I'm saying. Don't
Anna, you're absolutely
you know what
right.
I'm saying? I'm craving donuts, so I'm going to go do zone 4 so that I can then replenish with a donut. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And people, they'll say, oh, you don't understand. I do HIIT every day. And I'm always going, no, you don't understand. You're not doing HIIT because if you do any high intensity interval training, even if you're Lance Armstrong taking drugs, it takes 3 or 4 days to recuperate from that. So if you think you're going to boot camp every morning or you're going to the box, you're not getting your maximum potential out by doing that. You can't do that every day and hit your potential. Sorry, ain't going to happen.
So, well, I will say a lot of experts who like HIIT do say don't do this every day.
Right, because they're smart enough to know that that doesn't work.
Right.
So that brings up, people will ask me, well, what
People
about,
ask about HIIT all the time.
yeah, and they also want to, well, I'm told that's the only way I'm going to get my VO2 max up.
And Tabatas and HIIT, which,
Same kind of
same
bullshit.
thing. Yeah.
So people will ask about VO2.
But is it bullshit or is it bullshit?
To do it every day? Yes.
Not every day, but I'm saying, could it be beneficial or be some sort of therapeutic value to do HIIT?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But pretending that doing it more than once a week. Let me give you an example. The
Okay.
only big thing that HIIT will do for you is raise your VO2 max, right?
Okay.
And VO2 max is the maximum amount of oxygen consumption. Is the amount of oxygen that an individual can utilize while you're exercising very intense, high intensity, right? Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing that every day, you're not getting to that max. Your body doesn't have time to recuperate. Even if you're an athlete that's taking performance enhancing drugs, there's no way to do that day in and day out, right?
Okay.
And you're not going to gain. People are, oh, you don't understand, dude. I do a day in a day. Yeah, but you're not gaining. You just don't realize you're not gaining. You're staying in the same spot. By doing mostly zone 2, and then on occasion going into zone 4 workout after you have a big base of zone 2. So let me explain that.
That's interesting.
Let's say you wanted to run a marathon, right? The thing that's going to get you to the finish line with a smile on your face is a ton of zone 2 training. You never have to go into zone 3.
Right.
Ever. Okay. But now you've run a couple of marathons and you want to get faster. Right. Now you might want to raise your VO2 max a bunch.
Okay. So VO2 max, do it.
All right. So the way you do it, the way you raise the VO2 max is when you go back into training again for the marathon, or fill in the blank, whatever you want to do, cycling, whatever. You build your base up again for the first 10, 12 weeks. And then once a week, one of your midweek workouts that's not very long, let's say Saturday is your long day, right? If you midday workouts once a week, you might want to break into some intervals. And it's not as crazy as you would think. So at the beginning of the intervals, let's say you decide you're going to do 5 or 6 intervals right in the middle of a running workout, right? And you could do it on a treadmill because on a treadmill you can compartmentalize it better, or if you're on a track, right? So you warm up, you're working out, you're running for 20, 25 minutes. You got, your lungs are open, you're doing it, and then you start your intervals. And the way it works is at first, whatever you do on, you do off. So let's say you're going to do 5 intervals, right? 30 seconds all out. You're getting your heart rate up into zone 4, and then 30 seconds down where you're just jogging it out or walking. And then you start up again. Right at the 30-second mark, you go again. You do 5, 6 at the most. And then you spend the rest of your workout cooling down and, getting back into zone 2, cool down, and you're done. As the weeks progress, you can go from 30 seconds to 45 seconds. So when you go 45 seconds on, you go 45 seconds off.
Okay.
Right. Some people have built intervals up to where they're doing 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. It hurts like a mother effer. And it's supposed to hurt like a mother effer. Right. But you have the rest of the week to recuperate before you do it again. Right. And whatever time you're doing on, you do that amount of time off. It's just the way you, right? So that's how you build up intervals, and that's how you build up your VO2 max. It's the best way to do it.
So for you, since you're not training for any goal, cardio, endurance, or any even, you're not even going to go run a 5K, even though you run a 5K, the equivalent of that in your sleep, but you're not even doing that. So you were just training in zone 2 whenever you do your cardio, or do you add in some intervals from time to time?
Very seldom. I might do them. I can't remember the last time I've done intervals because I just don't need to, there's no real need to build up my VO2 max. I'm building up mitochondria. I'm doing everything I need to do. I don't need to do it. Right. Is
there risk of injury with intervals?
Yeah. If you're running, you could blow out a calf or an Achilles or something, tighten up a hamstring. Whenever I've done it on the bike. Oh, and I can't lie. I've messed around with it on the rowing machine just to see. And I didn't mean to do intervals. It was always like one interval. All right, I'm going to pull for 2 minutes here and see what I can do.
Right.
Right in the middle of a workout.
Right.
I'll just, if I'm in really
just decide to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I might just do that, but I'm not doing 5 times 2 minutes. I'll roll up for a minute and then roll down and then say, okay, I'm going to go 2 minutes. I'm going to keep it at, a pace of 30 strokes per minute or 33 strokes per minute. See what the pros feel like. And I got to tell you, it hurts like a mother. If you're doing it right.
You're not used to it. Yeah.
Oh, if you go to the internet and watch people rowing and they're doing like the 2,000 meters, you think they're exaggerating, but when they finish, they fall off of the machine. There's no standing up.
I'm sure.
It's
so hard.
Yeah, you're working like 85, 90% of the muscles in your body aerobically. So you're done. It's kind of like cross-country skiing is that way too.
Yeah.
People say, why don't you talk more about cross-country skiing? When I used to cross-country.
Because most people might die if they do it.
Oh, cross-country skiing gets you out of zone 2 in 30 seconds. I mean, you got to start off on a flat area.
Right.
Can't start where you got to go uphill a little bit.
No.
It will take you out.
So I feel like I'm going to sum up here, and then I'm going to ask you one final question that actually takes a lot of time to answer. So I feel like you've given people the information on cardio, not just why they should do it, but how to kind of design a program for themselves. Again, Vinnie being a voice of reason, not being the boss, like being like, here's the information. Now you guys take with it. You're grown-ups, go take with it what you will and design your own aerobic program that you want to do. And obviously, if you're training for something, you can change it up. And if you're not, you're just wanting to get in shape, stick in zone 2. So my final kind of question to wrap up the 101-ness of it all is to ask you, how do you calculate your zone 2? And do you have to have a heart rate monitor in order to stay in it?
Okay. Heart rate monitors are always a good idea.
I know you have a link to some on your website, right? At VinnieTortorich.com, your Amazon
there's some
link has some, the polar ones and whatnot.
Yeah. And here's the thing. They get more and more expensive for whatever reason. I still use, I have like 3 of them around here. They're FT1s made by Polar. And people go, why do you use it? Well, big numbers on them. The FT7 took over the FT1. I think I have an FT7 around here too. F as in Frank, T as in Tom. If you go to the Polar site, they don't even put them there anymore. It seems like these things, I used to buy these things for like 50, 60 bucks. Heart rate monitors
they used to be like 30 or 40 bucks.
Yeah, they've gotten outrageous. Now you could go buy a heart rate monitor, $500-600 because it comes with GPS and it hooks to your phone and it sucks your mom's left tit. It does all kinds of stuff, right? Like stuff you will never use, stuff I would never use, right? I don't need it to Bluetooth to my whatever. I don't care. So for that reason, I tell people, get the cheapest one available. If you have an Apple Watch, that works fairly well. The problem with Apple Watch is if you're running or you're on a trail or whatever, it doesn't stay on. You have to keep clicking to it. And if you don't watch where you're going, you trip and bust your teeth out of your mouth. But so because you have to click the Apple Watch and then look at it, right? But it works.
Right.
If you're on a stationary bike, whatever, it works like a charm.
I got to say, I've used apps on the phone because you told me in years past they do kind of work. And now they all want an email and a password. And I'm like, I just wanted to see if it, you know what I mean? Yeah. It drives me nuts. So I haven't been tracking. And now I want to get the polar monitor because I just want to be able to reference something.
There's Freestyle. There's a few brands. I like Polar. They invented the game. I've always stuck with them. Of course, some of my Garmin products have had the thing on it, but I said my Garmin product. I've asked Serena, when I've used the Garmin's in the boats because I can track GPS in the boat, see how far I'm going. I'll say, hey, this Garmin is pretty good. What do we pay for this? Oh, $400, and I'll lose my shit. $400. Oh my God. I could have bought a house or something.
Right.
So, so don't go spend that kind of money. We have some of that stuff. Serena was way into ultras and, she wanted to measure this, that, and the other thing. So that's fine. Companies like Fitbit and some of these things, they work just fine. In some cases, like on my Concept 2, it works with both a certain polar strap, not all polar straps. And Concept 2 will just sell you the strap for like 50, $60 that works with their machine. And they have a Garmin strap and a polar strap. So you can use Garmin or Polar, and you can just buy the strap straight from them. You don't have to buy the monitor and everything else. The monitor is on your piece of equipment.
Right.
So there's that. The other thing about Polar is if you just take your strap with you to the gym, put it around your rib cage, it works with almost every treadmill and or like stair machine, elliptical.
It just syncs up with that machine.
Yeah, well, they stuck with that brand because it was the original brand. That's the reason I like Polar. When I travel.
By the way, this episode was not brought to you by Polar, everybody.
Right, it's not. But I carry the straps with me when I travel, right? Because wherever I get on the machine, boom, it usually works. Right. And it's not, I bring one of the watches with me. I'd rather look at it on the panel on the machine rather than looking down at my wrist at the watch. And the other thing I've done is I'll put the watch on the treadmill so I can just it, and then I'll leave and forget it on the treadmill. So I've lost Polars that way. You drive away and there you're going, oh, geez, watch is gone. And so.
Is there a way to tell without it?
You can check your pulse, but I mean, it's, you can check your pulse and look at it.
So hard to pace, but also count your pulse.
It's almost impossible. Most machines at gyms, you can grab on, if your hands are dry enough, you can grab on and it'll give you a fairly accurate reading.
Right.
But it's good to kind of know where you are all the time.
Right.
So even I know exactly where my heart rate is. I know how it feels. I've been doing it for a gazillion years. I still throw a strap on. Hey girls. And on the rowing machine, you could get out of hand. Rowing machine is kind of like cross country skiing. You could get out of hand pretty quickly. Having the strap and looking at that thing up on I think it's called the PM5 monitor. It's good to have that. I'll get right out of zone 2 and go, oh, I need to bring it back a notch. Need to slow down here. Again, slowing
that's good.
Doing it right matter.
I think it's interesting how when you calculate the number, which is the last thing you're going to tell us here before we wrap this show up, when you calculate the number, it is always very interesting how you're like, oh, that's less than what I thought it would be. But then all of a sudden you realize like, oh, I'm really working out. It's a very interesting process.
Yeah.
When you start messing around with it.
For guys like me, my number is nowhere, because I've been tested. Serena's been tested. Right. If you're a big time aerobic athlete and you've been doing it for years, this doesn't work so well, but it works for the most part for just most people.
Wait, what do you mean? Why doesn't it work? You
Because
just said you train in zone 2.
yeah, our numbers are much higher. So
you're still in zone 2. It would just be different than the calculation you're about to give us.
The calculation doesn't work. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but I got to be honest, it's pretty close.
Okay.
Just know what it is. So I'll give you an example. I'll use me as an example.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to take one year off of I'm 61, but let's say I'm 60.
Okay.
Just to keep even numbers. Okay. You take the number 180. Now listen to that, folks. I did not say 220. To figure out your max heart rate, you would take 220 minus your age. And, that's all right. This is just cutting that out of the way. We're going to use this as data. So 180 minus your age. So I'm 60, 180 minus my age. That comes out to 120. Now, if you're a couch potato, I tell people 120 or 115. If you've never exercised, knock down 5 clicks. Heartbeats per minute.
This is where I always forget which direction it goes in.
Right. Well, if you're in
so I just try to remember the range.
Well, you're in pretty good shape. So in your case, if you were 60, instead of 120, you would move it up to 125. Okay. Now, at 125, at my age, you go, okay, that's your zone 2. Well, I said zone 2 is between 70 and 79% of your aerobic capacity, right? So what does this put you at the beginning or the middle or the end? Let's say that puts you right at 75% of your aerobic capacity.
Okay.
Right. So you still have a couple of beats per minute. You can go up 2 or 3 more beats per minute.
Okay.
So let's go back through it. 180 minus my age, which is 60, brings me down to 120. I'm in good shape. So we go to 125. That puts me at 75%. So I can actually be at around 128 or 129 and still be good. I happen to know that I can be at 135. So I'm a few clicks above that, but I've been an aerobic athlete. I've been an athlete my entire life. I played D1 ball and I was a professional mountain biker for years and I did ultra sports forever. Mine is ridiculously high. I am not the norm.
Okay.
Not bragging. There's nothing to brag about. I'm not the norm.
Okay.
Right. So even with that, I never go to that 134, 135. I always keep it somewhere between 125 and 130. There's no reason to go any higher than that. You're getting what you need.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Good.
Absolutely. Thank you for laying that out. Then thank you for joining us, audience. If you're getting value out of this, please go to iTunes or Overcast or podcasts or what's the apps people use to Spotify. Where do people listen to podcasts? I don't know. You know that because you're the one listening on the other end. Please go and give us a review. And this is a
great review. But wait, Anna, there's more. If you're one of those vegans that listen just to hate on us, we would appreciate it if you did not give us a review.
Yeah, we would invite you to not give us a review.
And don't give us the 1 star. We don't need that. So everyone else gives us 5 star.
The 1 star is not helpful.
Speaking of 5 star, if you want 5-star gravy, go to Anna Vocino, go to eathappykitchen.com, get that 5-star gravy. She calls it sauce. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Is that a real?
The grocery stores call it pasta sauce. So I have to call it pasta sauce when I'm talking to grocery people. And it's very funny because I appreciate the irony of being somebody who does not eat pasta, who sells pasta sauce.
Right. It's crazy.
There you go.
I use it for everything else. Original Kim was asking about the bachelor chili. I make that with Anna Vocino's.
That's right.
And I've used the pink crema. I've used the puttanesca. My favorite is the arrabbiata to make this.
Somebody, I think it was Nancy Schreiber, and forgive me if it wasn't you, Nancy Schreiber. Somebody said they listened to you talk about your shrimp with the pink crema. Your Fra Diavolo that you made. And she was like, I'm going to do that. And she started cooking and then realized she didn't have the pink crema, but she did have the pumpkin. And she posted a picture, said it was amazing. There's a pumpkin marinara, no sugar.
No can't sugar, miss. It would work
really
with
good.
puttanesca. It would work with all of them. It was, you know what, Anna?
What?
That's what I was just thinking. What am I going to buy at the store tonight? That's what I'm going to buy.
Shrimps.
I'm going to go get the shrimps.
Good.
I'm going to come home and peel them and devein them, about a pound worth. And I think I have arrabbiata left. I might have one.
That's so good. I can't get a hold of it.
I may have one left. I'm not sure.
Hold on, I'm even looking at Shopify because we're not making it till later this month, which means it's going to be another like 3 to 4 weeks after that before it gets shipped.
I think I hope if I don't have one, if I don't have one, I got a crema.
You can get it at the store. If you live near Gelson's, you can get it. Gelson's has it.
I don't.
Central Market has it. No, you're not going to be near a place that has it. Gelson's, Central Market, and Jewel have it. I even have on the website. Hold on. I have 25 twin packs left on the website, and that's it.
Yeah. I got something from Vocino in my thing. I'll be making that tonight. So
you have 3 pucked up barbecues on their way to you. You should get those tomorrow or Saturday.
I'm going to be all pucked up by the weekend.
Yeah, you are. You're going to get yourself all pucked up.
So go check out everything Anna Vocino's doing. You're going to want to get her new cookbook when it comes out. Anna Vocino Italian style. Yeah, that's what it's called. That's right. So you want to go, I'll give the right name whenever the book actually comes out. So.
Eat Happy Italian. We'll announce it later. Yeah. It's ready. Actually, I think by next week we will, because I want to have the funnel. I want to give bonuses for the people who pre-order it at this early stage, because I understand it's not coming out for 9 months, but the publisher has asked, please, can you get your audience to pre-order it so we know how much to order from overseas? And I don't want the same thing to happen. Remember when last time Amazon canceled half the orders, the computer, and then half my hair fell out of my head? I don't want that happening. So I want to make sure everything is, I need it to go smoothly, because I did swear in fall of 2019, I would never do this again. And I swore my Terra moment. I will never, ever do another cookbook ever again.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Same thing I do with documentaries. This is my last one.
I'm never doing this again.
I'm never doing another. And here I am again. Documentary. Yeah, all right. So
next documentary.
Anna Vocino, you got homework. You got to go watch.
Oh, that's right. I can't say it.
Matthew Modine.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Vision Quest. When are you announcing the new doc, though?
Soon. Okay. We're finishing up with legal and all that. It all takes more time than you think.
I know.
All of it.
It's all that stuff that makes you say, I'm never doing this again.
And I'm working. I made a commitment to get the vitamin company where it used to be, where service is number one, and we've been doing. And I love that everyone's been following along with that, and we're getting there.
Yeah.
It's not been easy. I spend every day, all day long working on that. So we're getting there. And I'm clawing my company back to be what it was. And,
great. That's amazing.
That's my commitment. So
we did it.
We're going to put a little extra music here because
great.
that movie so much. So on behalf of Anna Vocino, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with enthusiasm.